Okay, that was Spy Family, Season 1, Episode 23. You know what's crazy?
What?
The thing that I said like 3 times during the reaction? The animation has no business being as great as it is. It's not just like, oh wow, that animation's really good for a slice of life comedy spy show. Nah, this was like insane levels of animation at some points. Like your versus Fiona had some insane levels of animation. And so much great character design and just storyboarding, and it's great. I don't know what to say. I don't know how does this happen? Like, look at that.
As soon as this whole tennis arc, this whole tennis idea and game has honestly been the most insane like action ever, and it's so cool to be seeing it when it's like we have a spy and an assassin as 2 of the main characters in this show, and they gave this like amount of attention to detail in the action of something that is wholesome and slice of life instead of like murdering people or doing spy work. Like it's so fun. I think that's what the word I want to go with is just like it's so fun. It's so entertaining. It makes me happy. Like when that rubber bullet slow mode and kind of wrapped around the racket a little bit. Like, and then when we noticed the rubber bullet get shot back at the sibling, and I just was really into a lot of that.
I want to talk about like the actual story in regards to feelings and Yor in a second, but I just really want to appreciate a couple moments of like animation and then some art. Timestamp 6:31, I think it's around here, but it's right around like, you know, all the sniper movement. There was such a great shot of the like look at the camera work. Like, and it's such a great sense of space. Mm-hmm. Like we are like you follow the action so well, and it doesn't cut. It's just like the same camera.
You're just moving around. You're panning around as they're flipping and running
then under, and
fluid.
You're having multiple people to try to animate different moves at different like things coming at them and obstacles, and then you see like the flips and everything. It's so beautiful. Look at that. Like,
it's like a dance. And then we're swinging the camera back around to the other side of the
court. Yeah.
And it's
God.
It's like you're watching a real tennis game and there's like a camera actually going around the court in like
Lloyd's
a circular motion.
Putting the racket behind his back. Like you can put that's the impressive part. Because in a lot of fast animation in any cartoon or anime, they end up not having as much detail, like if the frames are quicker in succession. And that, of course, they do it here in a sense, but not, like they keep it so intact that you can freeze on any frame and completely understand what's going on in the scene. And there's intention behind each character in the scene too. Like how you were just talking about how the camera panned through, like from one side of the court to the other. Mm-hmm. And right before it even pans, you like see movement of the guy who's also shooting at them far back, right? Mm-hmm. And like you're watching him shoot, and then it stops right before the other guy who would technically be on the other side of the court, and you can see the bottom of his shoes. Yeah. Like the camera is going behind him.
And I think one of the other impressive things is like, yes, there's all these moving parts and the point of view is moving, but also like Lloyd and Fiona are moving from like foreground to background, like because over each other. They're not staying on their side of the court, they're jumping over each other. And I feel like it's so cool because you can understand through that whole sequence where they are in terms of like their bodies, in terms of each other on the court, even though we're spinning and they're spinning. It's so good.
It's so good.
I wonder how much time just that like sequence alone took to create. What does it look like in the manga?
My only, I think, critique of My Hero Academia this season a little bit is some of the consistencies in character art and animation. It's not bad by any means, but like I'm like, oh man, like I'd be maybe a little more like hype over this moment if the animation was a little cooler or something. what Spy Family has like some of the best animation in the game and character design in the game. Give me one shot where Anya doesn't look like Anya. You know?
I know, they always look flawless.
It's perfect. It's like, what does production of Spy Family look like? Because it feels like it's gone through like so many checks, you know, and like corrections. It feels
expensive.
It feels expensive, and it feels like they were patient with it. And they really took their time to make it right.
Yeah.
And it really pays off because, yeah, it's a really good story and it's fun and funny. But the thing that elevates the whole show is like how consistent it is. I imagine Spy Family as a manga is perfect and amazing, right? Because it's a story. But as an anime, they really are elevating things, right? Like it's crazy. A couple other moments was just, again, Yor versus Fiona.
Just Yor's power.
And her cutting right through.
I know. And this isn't the first time since they've been practicing tennis that this has happened. I mean, like, obviously Lloyd's not super surprised. I mean, if you remember his first episode of meeting and then proposing marriage to Yor, he already knows that wacky, crazy, athletic strength things happen with her. So I'm sure, oh, there goes Yor again, chopping tennis balls into a million pieces.
Around 1648 is when you first see Fiona's reaction, and her hair. Like, first of all, character art's great, right? And that's easy to do enough, you know? But the motion of her hair that goes back is so beautiful with the lighting and the shading, and then it goes into blue outline and disappears like Endeavor or Dobby in My Hero, you know? It's gorgeous.
I thought some of the red and black downward lines on Lloyd when he did his finishing shot against the sibling reminded me of Mob Psycho art style from like the final, like the season that's currently airing. So I love seeing things that make me like reference like other things that I've seen.
Other things that you've seen of very high quality. In terms
of like creativity with animation and design. Yes.
I think one of the biggest compliments you could give a show's animation is that it reminds you of Mob Psycho. And it does. It really does here. Okay, so here's another moment that I absolutely loved and I wanted to talk about. So coming right at Fiona, right? The tennis ball. And her hands are in the steady position with the racket. And for a second, the force of the ball coming makes the racket move a bit. And then she readjusts it back to where it initially was and then winds up to go for it. Oh my god, you can see like the resistance it takes. It's so like, and then what? This shot is held for, not this one. This shot is held for like what?
Where
less than a second?
She's basically holding the ball. Like the ball is touching the racket. It's this light ball at this point. The look on her face is awesome.
Like okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's probably like less than a second and a half that it's on screen. And it's just amazing. And there's 13
separate images of this ball basically breaking through the net.
I am like, I don't know. It's so good. It has no reason being as good as it is, the animation, I mean. But it's so enjoyable, dude. And then obviously like the whole finishing, it does remind me of Mob Psycho, you know? It's a great comparison. And then it breaks off. Oh, so good. Okay. So I wanted to get your opinion on the whole situation with Yor and Lloyd. Specifically, like, we both, after the fact, like once the episode ended, acknowledged that Yor might have been like looking for something as a reaction. But do you think that Lloyd stopped for the treats and had that look while with the handler, and like about family? Do you think that that's a genuine feeling, or do you think it's a realization that Yor could be feeling a certain way and he needs to fix it for the mission's sake?
I'm not sure. When I saw that look on Yor's face at the very end there is a still in either the opening or the outro of her and Anya in a window.
It's the opening.
And she has a look very similar to on her face. And I want to know what she wanted. What did he say? Can we go and see exactly what he said to her when she said, "I won"? because this was not what she wanted to hear, and I'm sure of that. Like, she's so determined to get this reaction from him. And she's like, Lloyd, I won. And she's blushing a little bit, and she's excited, and she's happy, and he says, congratulations. And she's like, I won. He said, you sure did. None of that is, even if she didn't want romantic, none of that is like they live together, and that's not even how a friend would treat you, that you like, or a roommate that you spend a lot of time with.
She wants her feelings to be acknowledged. She wants her effort to be acknowledged.
There to be some excitement.
Yeah.
She just won and she's excited about it. Be excited with her.
And we know that she's really wrestles with the idea of if she's good enough, and tries very, very, very hard to prove herself to Lloyd, when even in her eyes, this marriage isn't necessarily real, but she's still trying because she respects him and he isn't acknowledging it.
And what she has here is just further evidence that she's not making him happy or not doing a good job.
Yeah.
Because he didn't seem to be elated that she won or excited. And obviously we get that he's really, really tired at the end of this, which, you know, if he's drained of all energy, it's kind of hard to even have emotional energy to spare. So I maybe chalk that up to a limited reaction on his end.
Yeah.
But also, he doesn't treat her as a wife, really, in like a romantic sense, but he also doesn't really treat her as a friend. And I think that that's what he's learning here by looking at this picture of a family, is that he's kind of just living with them. You know, he's kind of just living with them, and maybe he takes them places. But lately, anytime they've been on a family outing, Lloyd is always leaving. Lloyd isn't there for like half of the family outings because he has to go do a spy thing.
Has Lloyd ever sacrificed his own mission or desire, or like immediate desire, for the happiness of Yor and Anya? Because it always ends up working out and it always ends up being better for the mission.
Right.
But
well, yeah, that's a good point. He obviously chose to go a different route for getting close to the Desmond family with Anya, other than the stars. And that's not him going soft on Anya or being fatherly or loving in any way. That's him being like, oh, that's just not the right way to do the mission. Better do plan B. It's still thinking of Anya as a pawn of sorts, a part of this plan. And just seeing Yor with this face and then having her walk away from Lloyd and him, that was so dense of him. I didn't picture him to be, but if he's a spy and he's able to read the most minute of movements in people, he's able to read lips. And here we have someone right in front of his face that he has a personal relationship with that doesn't know he's a spy, and he's unable to see them. You know? He's unable to, and it shows that there is a block there for Lloyd between kind of this working mind of his where he's like hyper focused on things, and he doesn't even know what does real Lloyd think and what does he want, and he can't even notice people if they're not a part of a mission. It's like he can only notice things if it's something that he has to notice or it's a part of his job to do.
The picture of Yor at the end speaks like a million words, you know? And you know what? I think that if Fiona knew Yor's feelings, Fiona would be really disappointed in Lloyd. I think Fiona would be would expect better observational skills from Lloyd.
Right, if he's this master amazing spy, he should be able to notice if someone living under the same roof as him is down. You know, he has noticed before with Yor.
Yeah,
he has noticed. But I'm like, but this was a bigger moment than those other times that he was like, oh, I need to give Yor a little pick-me-up or whatever.
Yeah.
And when that happened, he was thinking of it in a mission sense. Here we have a guy that's so exhausted, he doesn't want to think about missions anymore because that's what he's been doing all day. And so he's not looking at Yor as, oh, you're a part of my mission right this second. Because if he was, he'd be paying hyper attention to how she's feeling and thinking.
It's like, in his mind, he doesn't need to do too much to keep Yor happy. And that shouldn't be the way that you're if you're going about it with what I have to do, like a checklist to make sure she's happy, you've done something wrong. Like in a real relationship, I understand that it's like the plan and like everything.
This
but
is
still,
a fake marriage or whatever, but I'm sure you're probably thought that there would be a little bit, maybe just more understanding or attention.
I would like both of them to be giving like 100% because Yor for fucking sure is. Whose kid is Anya to Yor? Like Anya's Lloyd's kid. Like
But
Yor
that's the crazy thing is lately, and especially in the last couple episodes, Anya seems like she's being raised by Yor, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like I see Yor being a mother to Anya more than Lloyd as being a father. And honestly, if I watched this back, maybe I would think that was that way from the start, because Lloyd is always leaving Yor and Anya by themselves. Anytime Anya's been up to mischief, she met Bond because she was alone being parented by Yor. That whole scene where Yor beat those people up that were gonna kidnap Anya. Like, all of these funny hijinks happen with just the two of them together and Lloyd isn't there. And like, now I'm thinking back and I'm like, if I watch this again, will Lloyd even be there for any of the bonding except for that one time, you know, at the like third episode or whatever, where they went to that castle and Frankie was involved?
I think that's a really good point because, you know, Anya knows what's going on in Lloyd's head and his true intentions, but Yor doesn't. And I think that there is some sense of care from Lloyd about at least the mission, of course, but I don't know. It
also just opens the question of what would Yor want more. You know, if she wasn't expecting there to be romantic love, then why isn't this arrangement perfectly fine? You know, She has a house to stay in, she doesn't get arrested, Lloyd and Anya are both nice, you know? Like, she doesn't really have anything to complain about, but still there's something that's missing and bothering her, and she's not getting something that she wants or needs.
I agree with you. I'm trying to see if we get any other close-ups of the handler here, because obviously, you know me, I'm like I over obsess about like the stupidest things in the background. There was a picture in the top right of the bulletin board that I really, really wanted to get a closer look at. And I don't know, I took a screenshot of it to see, because we see like the Desmonds, we see Becky, we see the friends, we see like light silhouettes that I'm like, okay, they're not too important. But this one, it's not as light as the other silhouettes. It's not, you know?
And it's off to the side with a piece of paper.
It seems a little bit intentional. And I tried to screenshot it and zooming in, but I don't think we'll be able to make anything of it.
Yeah.
Nah. I thought it might be the handler at first.
Oh, why would she be on her own wall?
I don't know. Because or it could be Anya's mom. Or it could be some, I don't know.
That would be wild. I wonder if they would have made it more detailed, though, slightly, even more so than it is.
It is a little more detailed than the ones that I don't think we're supposed to look at all.
Yeah, but more that other people that aren't hyper-focusing on little tiny details would notice.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I thought we had another shot that was a little closer, but I'm 100% wrong. But I was like, who is that, you know? I'm really enjoying where we're going, though.
I'm kind of bummed in a way that this whole tennis match and this code didn't actually lead to, like, you know, really great progress. But in a way, actually, I might change my mind. I changed my vote.
I agree with you that you changed your vote.
Because I am more focused on this familial, possibly romantic, just relationship of this family. And that is, I think, the core focus of the show and the main thing that they're trying to show and depict in these funny hijinks ways. And, you know, if not having this tennis tournament turn into anything that actually helps further the plan, this tennis tournament obviously created feelings within Yor, and this aftermath of looking at this picture that was basically the findings of that tournament has had an effect on Lloyd. And who knows what that will lead for the next episode.
I agree. I kind of love the fact that we just spent, like, I might be reading into it too much, but we just spent we don't often spend 2 episodes in the same plot in the show.
No.
And we just spent 2 episodes on a mission away from the main family that ended up not breeding too much result. And I think that could be intention.
So it has to be significant.
for
in a way. It has
Yeah.
to be significant to further some family dynamic.
And I think that that's going to take place in your, and I
That's
wonder where
exciting.
that's going to go.
I'm really excited to see the next episode because I feel like there's no way that your and her feelings are not going to be very prevalent. Whether it's, even if it's not talked about, I feel like we'll see in the background that something is off with her.
I agree with you.
And I want to see that.
I agree. Maybe she's going to do more work. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe. You good?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.
That was so dense of him. That was so dense of him. That was so dense of him.
That was so dense of him.